will probably hear humming in the background, but it's my laptop right now is blowing up. It's like flying away almost. It's almost as bad as the P3, man. PS3 was terrible. PS has a lot better fans though. Yeah, so I just tried filming my first video and there was absolutely no audio. I kinda messed up. So I'm gonna try again. I was watching this video. I'm gonna revisit it. It's been literally 10 minutes. So I probably won't have as much to say, but oh well. I hope you can hear me good, because last time I was a bit quiet. We'll turn it up a little bit more. Still trying to figure this stuff out, guys, so bear with me here. 12 decibel kill. Is niet zoveel. Yeah, I'm just gonna revisit the video. It was a hard video. You know what? I'm gonna go to a different video, cause that video was hard to watch, man. It was hard to watch. I really had to sit through that video, like for the first time I watched it, of course. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot to put in an audio, one of the audio things that makes sure it actually captures the audio from the laptop itself instead of just my microphone. So I had a video and you heard me talking, but the video had no audio, so I was reacting to a silent video. It's like a silent movie, basically. So yeah. Anyways, that's a long ass intro. For those of you who don't know, of course you don't know, this is my first video. My name is Dylan. I'm from the Netherlands. So my first language is Dutch. I obviously speak English pretty damn well. Still learning though. I don't know every single word. Some of the big, interesting, complicated words that will be floating around Mr. Jordan Peterson right here, I probably won't be able to understand everything. I will try and work on my English more. Probably look a few words up afterwards, after the video, just to know if I'm on the right path, if I'm understanding what the video is really about. But yeah. So yeah, my first video. We'll see how it goes. Which one should we watch though? There's one where, I know there's one where Jordan Peterson has to cry. It's not this one. It's a very beautiful video. This one. No. Well, I'm gonna type it in. Africa Brooke. Yes, that's the video. This one, yeah. Again, I have already watched it, but it's an amazing video. Yeah, I probably won't stop it too often. There's not really a lot of to react to on this video, I don't think. I'm just gonna give you my opinions here and there. I will go through it, and at the end I'll try and give a quick sum up, and that's basically it. Yeah, let's get it.
I'd had an experience in relation to you years before where I had made a firm decision that I would never in my life listen to anything this man has to say.
Strong stance, strong stance.
Based on a 3 minute clip,
Of
mind
course.
you.
Do you
Uh,
remember what it was
you
that I said that was so profoundly irritating? I
Jordan.
mean,
oh, I
there's
do
I
many.
think
enjoy
this
them.
is
Can
his
you tell me what? Can
daughter.
you tell me what that was?
This Africa Brooke.
Of course, you were
Those of you
talking
who
about
don't
the
know.
gender pay gap.
Mm,
And this was part of a longer interview, the interview that you had with Kathy Newman, and this was a clip, 3 minute clip. You were talking about the gender pay gap, and you were saying that, paraphrasing here, but that the reason most women is because most women are agreeable, most women don't negotiate, etc., etc. I believe that was essentially it,
Not
essentially
sponsored.
it, giving people options as to why it could be that there's this thing that exists or doesn't exist. And I didn't even finish the clip. I didn't even finish the 3 minute clip. But based on the things that another out of context clip that I had seen before, and the way that I'd heard your name being spoken of before in the context of the trans conversation that was happening around that time, 2018. Right, exactly. Um, Again, I was watching this clip and it's almost like I wasn't even listening to what you were saying. I had already decided that I don't like this man because someone that I trust has told me that I shouldn't like him. So therefore, the decision is made. Why do I even have to finish that video?
right, of
And it was
course.
just right. And it was just
Very understandable. Very understandable. There's a lot of people in this world, and you don't. It's impossible to listen to them all. You know. You can learn from something from everyone. And again, this is a great example. She learned from her mistake, and she actually is now a big fan. I believe she will get into that. I believe she's now actually a fan of Jordan. And again, at the beginning, I also was quite. Should I should I watch these videos? You know, it's a very eerie topic. To me, they're not that eerie. You know, I live in the Netherlands. It's very different here. The Netherlands was the first country to legalize gay same-sex marriage. Um, and the Netherlands in general is very open to people of color, people of different sexualities, and just different people. You know, in Amsterdam alone, Amsterdam being the capital city of the Netherlands, there are over 200 nationalities living right there. That's crazy. And they're all accepted. They feel safe and they like it here. You know, it's Netherlands is very open and very accepting to a lot of people, and I think that's where we excel at. Uh, yes, we might be a bit forthcoming and a bit straight to the point, but uh, you know, that's just the Dutch. It saves time at the end of the day, and you know what you got. You know what people think of you, and if you want them to be your friend or not. If they have a certain opinion of you, they will tell you. Don't see it as rude. That's just how we are, man. So, yeah, it's just very different here than what I'm used to, you know. I'm brought up by. I know I should respect every single one, every person of color or nationality or uh, whatever, you know. Treat everybody with respect, is what I'm getting at, basically. Let's continue.
normal.
Well, we use heuristics like that all the time. And
Or, the decision is made. Why do I even have to finish that video?
right, of
And it was
course.
just right. And it was just normal.
Well, we use heuristics like that all the time. And it's easy to
Yes.
get caught up in them because, well, you can't listen to everyone. And
Yeah.
so you kind of have to make a snap judgment about almost
Mm,
everyone. And the default is you don't listen because there's like 7
yeah.
billion people. So obviously you're not listening to most of them. So you don't need much of an excuse. And it's
Right.
really easy for that to get. And I mean, it's not like I haven't experienced that. Like on
Yeah.
my podcast, I invite people on. Abigail Schreier, for example, she wrote. I don't remember
Oh, yes.
the name of her most recent book, but it's a investigation into the downside of the rush to make everything gender fluid, essentially. And
Mm,
I was terrified when I had her on. I mean, I was in rather ill health at
Irreversible
the
damage.
irreversible damage. Yeah.
that's
And
the one.
I want to have Andy Ngo on my podcast, but that also makes me nervous too. And because he's
Yes.
tarred with the fascist brush, and then you get it's guilt by association, and that might have been part of what
Mm-hmm.
you were feeling. So
Ah,
so you think, well, you need a simplifying heuristic, and part of that is, well, that most people aren't worth listening to, and he's definitely not worth listening to,
right.
and and then that can so easily become politicized. And once it is, especially when the political has become religious, it's really, really hard to overcome that. And
Yeah,
so,
it really is.
a lot of the
Yeah.
things that the radical left are pointing out are, in some sense, universal human failings. And so they have that truth about them. I mean, because we could ask ourselves, um, given the implicit tendency for human beings to have a pronounced in group preference, and the potential we have for violence against outgroup members, how do we all address our proclivity to
Yeah.
damn the foreigner? Okay, that's a really important question.
See, already, a lot of big long words. I understand most of them, but not all of them. So it's difficult to follow the story. But I'll just continue, and I'll give my opinion later in the video.
Outgroup members, how do we all address our proclivity to
Yeah.
damn the foreigner? Okay, that's a really important question.
Mm,
I
And
feel
then,
like I've got a good answer to
okay,
that.
let me add
This is
the one end to that. And then the next thing is,
okay.
well, we all have these proclivities. How are they exacerbated by power and privilege? Right? Those are good questions. But as soon as we make it instantly racist, well, then we can't even ask the damn
yes.
questions properly anymore. So, Mick, sorry.
My joke is over now,
Oh,
guys.
I'm sorry. I stomped all over your timely
You
joke.
stomped all over my tiny little joke. I was thinking about that question earlier, though. Uh, if everyone has these tendencies, which they certainly do, I've noticed that if I have a guest on my podcast, and I think my audience is fairly open minded, but then I'll have a guest on that and they'll hate them. And they'll be
Mm,
like, well, you can't just, even if you don't agree with them, maybe they are wrong, but like, you can't just cancel people because they don't agree with you because they're doing exactly the same thing that the people you're complaining about
Well,
are
and
doing.
mm,
also maybe your stupid opinions aren't right. They're probably not
Yeah.
right.
Just coming straight through with the facts, man. You can't always be right. You make mistakes. Sometimes you're wrong, but in the end, it's the mistakes we learn from that will make you a better person in the end. So, don't be scared to make mistakes. You'll be a better person after. Well, of course, you gotta do something about those mistakes. Otherwise, you gotta learn from them.
Agree with you because they're doing exactly the same thing that the people you're complaining about
Well,
are
and
doing.
mm,
also maybe your stupid opinions aren't right. They're probably not
Yeah.
right. And like, are you so sure your life is going so much the way you want it to go, and you're such a bloody paragon of virtue, and the light is shining out every orifice, that everything you think
right.
and say is correct, and everyone who disabuses you of your notions is evil? You're really so sure of
Right.
that, are you? So, you
Right.
wander around and you think, God, maybe I should listen to this person because I'm such an ignorant bastard and I'm so full of malevolence, and maybe they'll drop one thing on me that won't make me like miserable and doomed to hell and to drag everyone else there
Yes.
too. That's,
Yes.
yeah, well,
You know, I felt something similar when I finally leaned into.
Can see the emotions coming up in Miss Peterson right here already. It's getting quite emotional about the subject, you know?
listening to you properly. Because what was interesting, even after that moment in 2018, watching that 3 minute clip, deciding this man is evil, I want nothing to do with him ever again. And of course, I didn't think I would ever have anything to do with him.
Yeah, look what
how life
happened.
works.
Haha.
He found
Infiltrated.
Now he
me,
has it.
right? Um, People in my, especially people that were not really connected to the digital world, a lot of older men in my life, for example, and women in my life would always tell me to read your book. It's honestly, I people would always say to me, Africa, you will really love this book. I would have friends of mine send me lectures. I think you're really going to like this. And I would just completely ignore it. And in my mind, I'd be thinking, what am I going to find? What am I supposed to like? Because again, I have this idea of you built up in my head. So I'm finding it very confusing that people that know me very well are telling me that there's something that I'm going to like, right?
Yeah, what the
Very
hell?
confusing. But again, for years, what the hell? For years I ignored it. So when I started watching your lectures late 2019 and last summer as well, in the beginning I could
2 years
notice
ago.
myself listening to you and waiting for a moment where I could say, aha, see,
Right.
I knew I was right. And you know what? I waited. That moment never came. That moment
And
never came.
that
And that
comes for
also,
me
right?
all the time.
Really. And that again, so it's like there wasn't one moment of being awake and then it's done. So many little, tiny, seemingly insignificant moments where I'm just sitting here by my sofa, just watching and listening, observing myself, waiting, for that confirmation that I'm right. And then it never coming. And then I have to deal with that. And then, so again, my curiosity, I finally allowed myself to be curious again. And
Learning from your mistakes, you know?
that confirmation that I'm right. And then it never coming. And then I have to deal with that. And then, so again, my curiosity, I finally allowed myself to be curious again. And now, Jordan, I can say you have been one of the most influential people to me for so many reasons I couldn't even mention right now. But to be able to have the
That's deep.
conversations that I do now publicly, you have, and I
Oh
could
man.
have never.
Oh man. Fuck. Sorry. Uh, Frick. I don't want to cut this her off, but look at my man. He choking up right now. That's a real man, man. That's a real guy. That's a real man. He has feelings, emotions. He's not afraid to show 'em. Good for you, Mr. Peterson. Good for you.
But to be able to have the conversations that I do now publicly, you
Yeah.
have, and I could have never imagined this ever in my entire life. This is, things like this don't just happen. And
You're
the fact
breaking
that I
me up.
can tell you this,
Oh no.
thank you. Just thank you. Thank you.
You got him.
She got him.
It's a pleasure. It's a rough pleasure.
Mm, I know.
You knew what happened to me with Marvel Comics. That was something. It's really something to see yourself portrayed. I got accused of being a Nazi pretty much when all this happened. It was really something because I had been teaching students what we're talking about today, about these temptations that you faced and how people, as individuals, get sucked into that totalitarian hell. And then, so that was something for that to happen, such a reversal. And then to have that comic book come out, well, it was surreal. It was absolutely surreal to be portrayed, because Nazi wasn't enough, right? We had to go right for the archetype itself. So I think we've raised about $400,000 for charity now on the basis of that. So that was a fun reversal. But it was really shocking when I first saw that. I just couldn't believe it. I was very ill at the time too. I thought, this can't be real. This has to be Photoshop. This cannot possibly be happening. It's so
Right.
completely beyond comprehension. And, you know, to come from the pen of one of the foremost black intellectuals, and I use the racial category only because that's the categories that he's used
Yes.
to operate within.
Yeah.
You know? So
So life is really weird.
this is true.
Right.
This is
Right.
true. As this whole conversation illustrates.
Wow, man. Wow. Jordan Peterson.
Because I'd
Damn. You really chucked up right there. That was a great conversation, right? It's a good, emotional, and learning experience. Mostly. I mean, we can all take away something from this. We can all learn from this. Uh, give everybody a chance. Show respect to everybody. Uh, give them a chance to change your mind, you know? They might change your life.